The Assembly Line Dreamer. How Henry Ford Revolutionized America Part 1. The Rough Roads of Innovation. When we think of Henry Ford today, images of shiny Model Ts, bustling factories, and the American dream of owning a car probably pop into our heads. But rewind to the early days of the automobile, and things looked a lot different. The road to automotive dominance for Ford was anything but smooth. It was filled with mechanical breakdowns, financial tightropes, and skeptical investors. Understanding these early struggles is key to appreciating just how significant his eventual triumph was. The early problems: a car for the chosen few. Imagine a world where cars weren't just rare, but ridiculously expensive, unreliable, and almost exclusively for the ultra-wealthy. That was America at the turn of the 20th century. This wasn't just a minor hurdle for someone like Henry Ford. It was the fundamental barrier he had to smash through. 1. Exclusivity and cost. Before Ford, automobiles were custom-built luxury items. Each car was practically a handmade craft, which meant high labor costs and complex manufacturing. A single car could cost thousands of dollars, a staggering sum when the average worker earned a few $100s a year. This automatically limited the market to the super rich, making the car a status symbol rather than a practical mode of transportation for the masses. This problem wasn't just about price tags. It was about a mindset that viewed the automobile as inherently elitist. 2. Unreliability and maintenance headaches. Early cars were finicky machines. They broke down constantly, often requiring skilled mechanics, who were also rare and expensive parts. Imagine taking a road trip and constantly worrying if your vehicle would make it, or if you'd be stranded in the middle of nowhere. This unreliability wasn't just an inconvenience. It fostered a deep distrust in the machine. Owners had to be mechanically inclined or wealthy enough to afford constant repairs. The mechanic was often the driver themselves, constantly tinkering just to keep their prized possession running. 3. Inefficient production methods. The manufacturing process itself was a huge problem. Cars were assembled largely by hand, one at a time, often in small workshops. Skilled craftsmen would move around the vehicle, fitting parts and making adjustments. This stationary assembly was slow, wasteful, and inconsistent. There was no standardization, no interchangeable parts, and very little thought given to optimizing the flow of work. This inefficiency was the root cause of the high costs and limited production numbers. 4. Limited infrastructure. Even if someone could afford a car, where would they drive it? Roads were mostly dirt tracks, unpaved and often impassable in bad weather. Gas stations were non-existent, and mechanics were few and far between. This lack of supporting infrastructure made car ownership a logistical nightmare outside of major cities, further hindering its widespread adoption. It was a classic chicken or the egg problem. Why build better roads if no one has cars? And why buy cars if there are no good roads? 5. Resistance and skepticism. Not everyone was thrilled about the idea of horseless carriages. Farmers worried about scaring livestock, city dwellers complained about noise and fumes, and many simply saw cars as dangerous toys for the rich. There was a general societal resistance to this new technology, which further slowed its progress and market acceptance. People were used to horses and trains. Cars seemed like a passing fad. The causes behind the constraints. Why cars were so hard to get right. Understanding why these problems existed helps us see the genius in Ford's approach. It wasn't just about making a better car. It was about tackling fundamental economic and engineering challenges. 1. Craft production mentality. The dominant manufacturing philosophy was craft production. This meant highly skilled artisans creating products from start to finish, using their individual expertise. While this produced beautiful, high-quality bespoke items, it was inherently slow, expensive, and didn't allow for mass production. It was great for luxury items, terrible for something intended for everyone. 2. Lack of standardization and interchangeable parts. Each part was often unique to a specific car or even a specific assembly. If a part broke, you couldn't just swap it out with another identical one. You often had to have a new part custom-made or laboriously fitted. This lack of standardization meant repairs were complex and costly, and mass production was impossible. The idea of interchangeable parts was gaining traction in other industries, like firearms, but hadn't fully taken hold in automotive manufacturing. 3. Limited engineering knowledge, automotive-specific. While mechanical engineering was advancing, the specific challenges of designing reliable, affordable, and easily manufacturable automobiles were still being figured out. Materials science, engine design, and chassis construction were all in their infancy compared to today. Engineers were still experimenting, and there wasn't a widely accepted best practice for car building. 4. Capital-intensive industry. Building cars required significant investment in machinery, materials, and skilled labor. Attracting that capital was difficult, especially for a venture as uncertain as a new automobile company. Many early car companies went bust, and investors were wary. This financial constraint meant that scale was hard to achieve. 5. Social and economic landscape. America was still largely an agrarian, farm-based society, with a growing industrial sector. The concept of widespread personal transportation wasn't yet part of the national consciousness. Economic inequality was stark, and the idea of a car for every family seemed like a far-fetched fantasy. The social infrastructure simply wasn't ready for a car-centric world. Henry Ford's early significance, the visionary with grit. Before the Model T or the assembly line, Henry Ford was significant not for what he had done, but for what he believed was possible. He was a visionary who saw beyond the luxury item and imagined the car as a tool for the common person, a device that could transform daily life and empower individuals. 1. Democratizing the automobile. His most profound early significance was his unwavering belief that the car shouldn't just be for the rich. He famously said, "I will build a car for the great multitude. It will be so low in price that no man making a good salary will be unable to own one." This wasn't just a marketing slogan. It was a radical departure from the prevailing industry mindset. He aimed to make the car a necessity, not a luxury. This democratic vision fueled his persistent efforts. 2. Early entrepreneurial drive. Before he struck gold, Ford had several failed or struggling attempts at car companies, like the Detroit Automobile Company and the Henry Ford Company. This showed incredible tenacity and an unwillingness to give up on his vision. Each failure was a learning experience, refining his ideas about design, production, and market. His ability to learn from setbacks and keep pushing forward, even when others would have quit, is a testament to his early significance as a driven entrepreneur. 3. Mechanical genius and innovation. Even in his early days, Ford was a gifted mechanic and inventor. His early racing cars, like the 999, showcased his engineering prowess and desire to push boundaries. These racing victories brought him recognition and helped attract initial investors, proving he wasn't just a dreamer, but someone capable of building fast, powerful machines. He understood the nuts and bolts of how cars worked, which was crucial for envisioning how they could be made better and cheaper. 4. Focus on simplicity and durability. From the outset, Ford aimed for a car that was simple to operate, durable enough for rough roads, and easy to repair. This focus, even before the Model T, showed an understanding of the practical needs of everyday users. He wasn't just building a car. He was trying to build a reliable workhorse for American families and businesses. This design philosophy was a direct response to the unreliability of existing vehicles. In essence, Henry Ford's early significance lay in his radical vision for the automobile, his relentless pursuit of that vision despite numerous failures, and his inherent mechanical talent. He saw the potential for personal transportation to change society and was determined to make it a reality for everyone, not just a privileged few. This vision, more than any single invention at that stage, set the stage for the Industrial Revolution he would soon unleash. How does that feel for part 1? I've packed a lot of detail into it, addressing the problems, their causes, and his early significance, keeping the 10th grade USA audience in mind. Let me know what you think before we move on to part 2. Alright, let's dive into part 2. Here's how Henry Ford tackled those early problems and truly changed the game. The Assembly Line Dreamer. How Henry Ford Revolutionized America Part 2. The Breakthrough, Solutions, and the Rise of Mass Production. Henry Ford wasn't content just dreaming. He was a problem solver at heart. Facing the daunting challenges of high costs, slow production, and an inaccessible market, he engineered a series of brilliant, interconnected solutions that didn't just improve car manufacturing. They transformed industrial production forever. His approach wasn't just about making a better car, but about creating a better system for making cars. The step-by-step solutions, engineering a revolution. Ford's genius lay in his ability to look at the entire manufacturing process and systematically identify bottlenecks and inefficiencies. His solutions were revolutionary because they combined technological innovation with groundbreaking organizational strategies. 1. Standardization and interchangeable parts. The problem: early cars were unique, making parts non-interchangeable and repairs costly. Ford solution: Ford insisted on complete standardization of all parts. Every bolt, every gear, every chassis component had to be identical. He pioneered the use of precision machinery to manufacture parts with exact specifications. Step by step. Step 1. Design for simplicity. Engineers meticulously designed parts to be simple, robust, and easy to manufacture in large quantities. Step 2. Precision manufacturing invested heavily in specialized machine tools that could produce identical parts with minimal human error. This was a significant upfront cost, but paid off immensely in the long run. Step 3. Quality control implemented strict quality checks to ensure that every part met the precise standards, allowing any part to fit into any corresponding assembly. Effect: this eliminated the need for custom fitting, vastly sped up assembly, reduced repair times, and lowered the cost of replacement parts. A Model T fender from 1910 would fit a Model T from 1920. 2. The moving assembly line. The problem: cars were built one at a time, with skilled workers moving around the stationary vehicle. This was slow and inefficient. Ford solution: Ford didn't invent the assembly line. Meatpacking plants used similar concepts, but he perfected and applied it to complex manufacturing on an unprecedented scale. Instead of workers moving to the car moved to the workers. Step by step. Step 1. Process breakdown. The entire car assembly was broken down into hundreds of tiny, simple, repetitive tasks. Each task required minimal training. Step 2. Conveyor systems introduced conveyor belts and gravity slides to move parts and the partially assembled car from one workstation to the next. Step 3. Synchronized workflow carefully timed the speed of the conveyor belt to ensure a continuous flow of work, eliminating wasted motion and waiting times. Workers stayed in one place, performing their specialized task as the product moved past them. Effect: this was the game changer. It dramatically reduced the time it took to build a car, slashing labor costs and increasing output exponentially. 3. Specialized labor and division of work. The problem: highly skilled craftspeople were expensive and slow, and there weren't enough of them. Ford solution: with the moving assembly line, tasks were simplified to such an extent that workers no longer needed years of training. Each worker performed a single, repetitive action. Step by step. Step 1. The skilling tasks were analyzed and simplified into a few motions that could be learned in minutes or hours, not years. Step 2. Repetitive assignment. Each worker was assigned one specific, repetitive task. Step 3. Training simplicity. New hires could be quickly trained, expanding the available labor pool significantly. Effect: this drastically reduced the reliance on highly paid skilled labor, further cutting production costs and enabling a much larger workforce. 4. Vertical integration. The problem: relying on external suppliers for parts meant higher costs, potential delays, and less control over quality. Ford solution: Ford aimed to control every step of the production process, from raw materials to the finished car. Step by step. Step 1. Acquire resources. Ford bought iron mines, coal mines, rubber plantations, and even forests. Step 2. Manufacture components. Built massive industrial complexes like the Rouge River plant, where raw materials entered one end and finished cars rolled out the other. They produced their own steel, glass, tires, and other components. Step 3. Transportation. Operated his own fleet of ships, railroads, and even a glass-making plant. Effect: this gave Ford unprecedented control over quality, supply chains, and costs, eliminating middleman expenses and ensuring a steady flow of materials. 5. The $5 day wage. The problem: the repetitive nature of assembly line work was mind-numbingly boring, leading to high worker turnover and absenteeism. Ford solution: in 1914, Ford announced he would pay his workers an astonishing $5 for an 8-hour day, more than double the prevailing wage for factory workers. Step by step. Step 1. Strategic incentive calculated that higher wages would reduce turnover, increase worker morale, and improve productivity. Step 2. Share the prosperity argued that workers should be able to afford the very product they were making, creating a new class of consumers for his cars. Step 3. Eligibility requirements initially had some controversial moral clauses, e.g., workers had to maintain a clean lifestyle, but the economic impact was undeniable. Effect: the $5 day drastically reduced turnover, attracted the best workers, and turned them into eager consumers. It was a revolutionary concept that linked worker welfare to mass consumption, fueling the American middle class. Key statistics: the numbers tell the story. The impact of Ford solutions can be clearly seen in the astonishing production and sales figures of the Model T, and the accompanying reduction in its price. Production time: in 1908, it took 12.5 hours to build one Model T. By 1913, with early implementation of the assembly line, it dropped to 3 hours. By 1914, after full optimization, it took only 93 minutes, 1.5 hours, to build a Model T. Price reduction: when the Model T was first introduced in 1908, it cost $850, about $28,000 in today's money. By 1914, the price dropped to $490. By 1925, a basic Model T cost as little as $260. This was the black model, famously, any color as long as it's black, because black paint dried the fastest, allowing for continuous production flow. Sales and market dominance: in 1908, Ford sold 10,666 Model Ts. By 1914, annual sales surpassed 250,000 cars. By 1916, Ford produced more than half of all cars in America. By the time production ended in 1927, over 15 million Model Ts had been sold worldwide. For comparison, the best-selling cars today rarely reach that number in their lifetime. Worker wages: before 1914, the average factory wage was about $2.34 for a 9-hour day. Ford's $5 day for an 8-hour day more than doubled this, allowing his workers to become part of the burgeoning consumer class. Immediate effects: a new era of mobility and prosperity. The direct consequences of Ford solutions were immediate and transformative, reshaping not just the automotive industry, but the very fabric of American society. 1. Democratization of the automobile. The Model T, with its low price and reliability, truly put America on wheels. Car ownership surged, no longer confined to the elite. Families could now afford personal transportation, opening up new possibilities for work, leisure, and travel. 2. Economic boom and mass consumption. The $5 day created a new class of well-paid industrial workers who could afford mass-produced goods, including the very cars they built. This fueled a cycle of mass production and mass consumption, becoming a cornerstone of the 20th century American economy. It demonstrated that paying higher wages could lead to greater profits through increased consumer demand and reduced labor costs from turnover. 3. Rise of the suburbs and road infrastructure. As cars became accessible, people were no longer tied to living near their workplaces or public transit lines. This enabled the growth of suburbs and created immense pressure for the construction of better roads, highways, and supporting infrastructure like gas stations and motels. 4. Transformation of labor. While the assembly line brought unprecedented productivity, it also dramatically changed the nature of work. Tasks became simpler and more repetitive, leading to concerns about worker alienation and the de-skilling of labor. However, for many, the higher wages and stable employment were a welcome trade-off. 5. Blueprint for modern manufacturing. Ford's methods, collectively known as Fordism, became the global standard for industrial production. Factories around the world adopted the assembly line, standardization, and division of labor, leading to an explosion in efficiency across various industries. From appliances to electronics, the Ford model showed how to mass-produce complex goods efficiently and affordably. The early 20th century, with Henry Ford at its helm, saw the automobile evolve from a rich man's toy to a symbol of freedom and opportunity for millions. His relentless pursuit of efficiency and his daring approach to labor transformed not just a company, but an entire nation. There's part 2, detailing the solutions, statistics, and immediate effects. I hope this is hitting the mark for you. Let me know if you want any adjustments before we move on to the final part, which will cover the lasting impact and lessons learned. Alright, let's wrap this up with part 3, focusing on the long-term ripple effects and the powerful lessons we can learn from Henry Ford's journey. The assembly line dreamer. How Henry Ford revolutionized America Part 3. Lasting legacy and the lessons we still learn. Henry Ford's impact didn't end with the last Model T rolling off the line in 1927. His innovations left an indelible mark on American society, the global economy, and the very way we think about production and consumption. While his methods brought immense progress, they also sparked new challenges and debates that continue to shape our world. Understanding these broader, long-term effects and the lessons learned helps us grasp the full scope of his legacy. Broader effects, the transformation of a nation and beyond. Ford's vision for an affordable car unleashed a cascade of changes that went far beyond the factory floor. 1. Urbanization and suburbanization. The car fundamentally changed where and how people lived. With affordable transportation, workers could live further from their jobs, leading to the rapid growth of suburbs around major cities. This decentralization reshaped urban planning, daily commutes, and community structures. Downtown areas, once the sole hubs of commerce, saw competition from new suburban shopping centers. 2. Economic growth and new industries. Ford's success spurred massive economic growth. Not only did the auto industry itself become a behemoth, but countless related industries flourished. Steel, rubber, glass, oil, road construction, gas stations, motels, diners, all experienced unprecedented expansion due creating millions of jobs and new forms of investment. The automobile became a key driver of the American economy. 3. Increased personal freedom and mobility. For ordinary Americans, the Model T represented unparalleled freedom. Families could now visit relatives in distant towns, access new recreational areas, and explore their country like never before. It broke down rural isolation, allowing farmers easier access to markets and social events. This newfound mobility profoundly changed social patterns and individual experiences. 4. Rise of consumer culture and the middle class. The Fordist model of high wages and affordable goods helped solidify the American middle class. Workers could not only afford a car, but also other mass-produced items like refrigerators, radios, and washing machines. This accessibility to consumer goods became a hallmark of the American dream, shifting the nation from a savor-oriented economy to a consumer-driven one. 5. Environmental impact and resource consumption. The widespread adoption of automobiles brought new environmental challenges. Increased burning of fossil fuels led to air pollution, and the demand for materials like steel and rubber placed immense pressure on natural resources. The car also contributed to sprawling development, altering landscapes and ecosystems. These were unintended consequences that society continues to grapple with today. 6. Changed nature of work. While Ford's assembly line brought prosperity, it also created highly repetitive, often monotonous jobs. The de-skilling of labor meant that workers performed simple, isolated tasks rather than crafting an entire product. This led to psychological challenges for workers, prompting questions about job satisfaction and the dehumanizing aspects of industrial labor, which social reformers and unions began to address. 7. Global industrial model. Fordism wasn't just an American phenomenon. It became the dominant industrial paradigm worldwide. Manufacturers in Europe, Asia, and beyond eagerly adopted Ford's principles of mass production, standardization, and scientific management. This global spread of his methods fundamentally reshaped manufacturing and international trade throughout the 20th century. Lessons learned from Henry Ford's journey. Henry Ford's story offers a rich tapestry of insights, both positive and cautionary, for entrepreneurs, innovators, and society as a whole. 1. Vision and persistence are paramount. Ford's unwavering belief in an affordable car for the masses, despite early failures and skepticism, is a powerful reminder of the importance of a clear vision and tenacious persistence. He didn't just chase trends. He created a new reality because he truly believed in his idea. 2. Innovation is more than invention. Ford didn't invent the car or the assembly line. His genius was in innovating how these elements were combined and scaled. He demonstrated that true innovation often lies in process improvement, organizational design, and making existing technologies accessible and affordable to a broad audience. 3. The power of standardization. His relentless focus on interchangeable parts and simplified design was a foundational lesson. Standardization dramatically reduces costs, increases efficiency, and makes products easier to repair and maintain. This principle is still critical in nearly every industry today, from electronics to construction. 4. Customer focus drives success. Ford understood that a product's success isn't just about its engineering. It's about meeting a genuine need at an accessible price. His focus on creating a reliable, affordable car for the multitude directly tapped into an unmet market demand and transformed consumers into stakeholders. 5. The double-edged sword of efficiency. While the assembly line brought unprecedented efficiency and lowered costs, it also highlighted the potential for repetitive labor to be dehumanizing. This teaches us that while efficiency is vital, businesses must also consider the human element and the impact of work on their employees' well-being. Modern management often seeks to balance efficiency with employee engagement and empowerment. 6. The interconnectedness of economy and society. Ford's $5 day demonstrated that paying workers well could not only boost morale and productivity, but also create a robust consumer base for the products they made. It was a revolutionary idea that underscored how business decisions can have profound societal impacts, linking industrial success with broader economic prosperity and the growth of the middle class. 7. Adaptability is key to long-term success. Ironically, one of Ford's later weaknesses became a lesson for future generations. His stubborn refusal to change the Model T's design or offer color options for many years eventually led to Ford losing market share to competitors like General Motors, who offered annual model changes and diverse options. This shows that while a strong vision is crucial, businesses must also remain adaptable and responsive to evolving consumer demands and competition. Henry Ford's journey reminds us that truly revolutionary ideas often face initial resistance, but can, with determination and ingenious problem-solving, reshape the world in profound and lasting ways. His legacy is a complex one, celebrating progress and prosperity, while also prompting critical reflection on the social and environmental costs of industrial advancement. The roads he paved, both literally and figuratively, continue to define much of modern life.